Hey guys, it's Ernie from Friendly Neighborhood Comics. Thanks for checking in. We're fortunate, we're kind of reading comics in what's become a new golden age. There are so many good books right now, it's incredible. And even if you don't like superhero comics, that's cool. We have other things for you. F&C carries really a very deep stock of independent books, and we hopefully have something for everybody. If you have a moment, let's run through a few of the highlights for this week. So, Action Comics has been really strong since the DC Rebirth. The Superman books have been really well written, really great stories. Currently, they have the Revenge storyline, which is Zod and a whole bunch of Superman villains teaming up. And of course, now in this issue, they're going to fight the Superman family. All we need is Crypto, and then we'd be all set. Birthright has a new volume in this week. This has been a really strong book and one of the favorites here at F&C. It's basically a young boy who gets transported to a fantasy world where he's going to be the legendary hero, but things don't always work out the way you expect. This new volume is terrific. We carry all the volumes here at the shop. Definitely worth your time, worth reading. Cal Exit. Basically, it's a little bit of a political thriller and takes the prospect that California, they're not like the rest of us, they decide to essentially create their own country. What could go wrong? Really cool first issue. I just read that today. Really strong. I like that a lot, so I can't wait to see what else comes out of it. Curse Words. Have to talk about Curse Words. It's a really fun book about magicians and magic, and the really cool thing is that the Curse Words tour is going to roll into F&C on August 10th. So we'll have the creators here, the entire creative team, and they're going to come in, sign your books. They've got a lot of cool stuff planned. It's going to be wild. But above and beyond that, really good story, worth reading, and this is the first trade. So definitely, if you haven't checked out the comics yet, we've got a lot of back issues, but the first trade will really get you going in a good way, worth reading. Dark Days, The Casting. This series is cool because it's kind of the big meta story about what's taking place underneath the DC universe. And with the DC Rebirth, that's been a big question about what's really going on. And this is going to actually roll in a lot of the really cool elements, if you will, of the DC universe. So things like the Hawkman Nth Metal, certain putty-shaped heroes, and we'll say no more about that. But they're bringing in a lot of cool elements of the DC universe. We still have the Forge available as well. The Casting is the new chapter, and this all leads into Metal, which is the big series coming out that's going to be released midnight, Tuesday, August 10th, midnight, technically Wednesday the 16th. We'll be open that night, and the first issue of Metal will be available. We have some cool stuff lined up for that night as well, but a really terrific storyline, especially if you like the big DC Universe stories. You got to check it out. And it's by Scott Snyder, so you know it's going to be strong no matter what. Let's see, what else do we want to talk about? Slade would kill me if I didn't mention Hal Jordan. So, Slade, Hal Jordan. Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps has been really strong. A lot of people have been really digging the storylines. Essentially, Hal Jordan is trying to rebuild the Green Lantern Corps, and it also involves, Guy Gardner, John Stewart, and all those guys. It's been a really good book. GL fans are enjoying it, and it's been a really big piece of the DC Rebirth. Definitely worth reading. Ask Slade about that tomorrow. He'll tell you all about it in detail. Howling, classic horror. Space Goat's been doing some really cool stuff with Army of Darkness, and they have a really good feel for this material. So it's basically the classic 80s werewolf story, updated a bit. If you like just kind of fun, classic, almost B-movie horror stuff, this is a good book for you. Josie and the Pussycats. I like this book. And the cool thing about this for us is that the artwork is by Audrey Mock, and she did our Sasha Banks covers. So if you have the F&C Sasha Banks cover and you want to see what that artist can do with an actual storyline, it's a cool book and it's good. It's worth reading. Essentially music, teenagers, Riverdale, fun. Kill or Be Killed. Anybody that's ever come in the store that I've talked to about Ed Brubaker knows how much I really have enjoyed his classic work on Captain America and books like that. This is his new crime noir series with a bit of a twist. Our protagonist may or may not be possessed by a demon, and it's really intense character action, beautiful artwork, really well done, strong story. And again, we have the volume 1 of the trade available too if you need to kind of catch up. Last Song is another music-based book. It's about how music can save you or not. Kind of takes place in the 80s, and I believe future issues will move forward musically through the decades. So that was a cool start to the series. I'm interested to see where that goes. Valiant's doing some really cool stuff if you're looking for a superhero universe, but you don't want the big expansive Marvel or DC books. Valiant's putting out some great stuff right now, and spoiler alert, somebody dies. So, and in Valiant, there aren't that many heroes to kill off. Let's see. All right, so one of my favorites, Mage, is a really strong book. Matt Wagner has been telling this story for a long time now. And volume 1, which just came out in a new paperback, is the Kevin Matchstick story. It introduces you to Kevin Matchstick and magic. And there's a really cool twist in here, which I won't mention because you should read it on your own. Highly, highly, highly recommended. I love this book. And the reason that this is cool is because Matt Wagner actually has a 3rd series of this character. And the neat thing about it is he did the first series when he was a young man himself, I think in his early 20s, waited around 10 or 15 years before doing series 2, and now has waited again and is doing series 3 to complete the trilogy of the hero's progression and the hero's journey. And he did that on purpose, and the character has aged along with him. So that's really cool. I highly recommend it. One of my favorites. Even if you don't want to check out the trade, there's a number 0 issue, which is kind of a prequel to the new series. It's only $2 and definitely worth reading. It's really strong. I can't recommend this enough. Old Man Logan. If you recall the original Old Man Logan series, he fought the Hulk gang and they did bad things to his family and he sought revenge. Now he's been placed into the regular Marvel universe and trouble has followed him. So really cool. This is the 2nd chapter of the story. We have some copies of the 1st chapter still in stock. Definitely if you've had any interest in Old Man Logan, it's worth reading. All right, these guys are kind of the redheaded stepchildren of the DC universe. Red Hood and the Outlaws. If you see this symbol, you know it means bad things, but it's Bizarro, so I'm not sure if that means he's going to come back to life in some way or something. I don't know, but really cool. This book's been under the radar, but there have been some really interesting stories being done with it, and I think this new one's going to be a lot of fun. So definitely, I would suggest take a look at it at least. This might be worth your time. Skin and Earth is by a musician by the name of Light, who I was not familiar with, but I read the book today, and now it's going to tie into an album being released in the fall. So that's now on my radar, and I'll have to check it out, but basically it's a post-apocalyptic tale, and it's got a redhead, so, you know, I'm in. Let's see, Amazing Spider-Man. I have to say, if you've been reading Amazing Spider-Man since Dan Slott took it over, and you may remember the time he came into the shop for a signing, and it was that famous Doc Ock cover where he's saying Peter Parker, and we all thought, oh, he knows the secret, but in reality it was Peter Parker. I think even better than Dan's run on Spider-Man has been this big character arc he's done with Dr. Octopus. And he's really had a feel for the character and has given him this dramatic, incredible storyline that's run over many years. And right now, Peter has to deal with superior Dr. Octopus. And Doc Ock has had a lot of plans in the background that are now coming to fruition. It's a Secret Empire tie-in, but not really. It's primarily about Peter and Doc Ock himself. So there are events happening in the background, and Doc Ock is kind of using the confusion to take over Peter's company. And a battle and hilarity ensues. The other cool Spider-Man book mentioned this week is Spider-Men. So it's Peter and Miles Morales. They did have a prior team up. And in this new one, there's apparently a different or a new Miles Morales running around. And who is he? And what's his existence being for the Miles we know and for Peter? Let's see. Train 8. New zombie book. It's another independent horror type storyline. It's also been optioned for a movie, and there's a movie on the way. I guess the tagline would be Zombies on a Train. A lot of fun. I read that this afternoon too. Pretty crazy. That was a lot of good zombie fun, if you like that sort of thing. Uncanny Avengers is probably my favorite Avengers book right now. Essentially, Captain America had created a team of Avengers, X-Men, and Inhumans, after all the goings on in the Avengers versus X-Men storylines of a couple years ago. So it's supposed to be the Unity team, and they're not usually very united. But there's so much bad stuff happening in New York City right now, they do have to work together. They're almost forced to. And it basically stars Rogue as the leader of this Avengers unit. Rogue's my favorite X-Men. The way they've been handling her progression into a leadership role has been really cool. Definitely worth reading. It's my favorite Avengers book right now. Good stuff. Valerian. We just got in the hardcover of the first 3 graphic novels, and also includes the never reprinted in the United States volume number 0. Really strong series. It's a European graphic album, science fiction and adventure. And if you read it and you've never had any experience with Valerian before, you might think, wow, they took a lot of stuff from Star Wars. Well, actually, the reverse is true. Star Wars got a lot of cool things like Jabba the Hutt and things like that from Valerian. There's also a little movie coming out soon that looks incredible. Definitely worth reading. We have all the graphic novels in stock. Don't necessarily have to read them in order. They're all cool. Find one you like. Take the time to read it. Really good. I highly recommend it. For all you Venom fans out there, the next installment of the Edge of the Venomverse series just came out, and we still have the first one in stock as well. Really cool Venomized versions of a lot of our favorite Marvel characters, and it looks like a really cool edge-of-your-seat action story. Weapon X continues the Weapons of Mutant Destruction storyline, which has been really strong. Involves the Hulk, Sabretooth, Logan, a bunch of other characters, and kind of a group that's trying to resurrect the Weapon X program, except they also want to incorporate the Hulk. So that looks pretty cool. That's been well written, a lot of fun. That's a wild ride. New issue of Wonder Woman came out. I don't know. I heard there was a movie or something. You guys may know about that. Definitely worth checking out. And finally, X-Men Blue, which is probably worth buying just for the Arthur Adams cover alone. I love his stuff. He's been doing the covers on this series and killing it. But the cool thing about this, I don't want to give too much away, but there's a real powerful Marvel couple that may be reasserting themselves in the Marvel Universe, and that can't be good for anybody. The last thing I just wanted to mention to you guys, FNC does carry a full line of children's books, and a couple of the cool ones, My Little Pony, Uncle Scrooge, which really we put in the children's section, we probably shouldn't, because they're great action adventure stories for everybody. I still like them. They're really good storylines, a lot of adventure. Donald Duck is an action hero, who knew? Really strong. Another cartoon character we knew was an action hero, Mighty Mouse. Really cool book, a lot of fun. Definitely, if you've got nieces and nephews, then this can be your guilty pleasure. Read it for yourself and then give it on to someone else. So really, that's it, guys. Tons of stuff this week. Big week of releases at FNC. A lot of cool indie books you're not going to find anywhere else. All the cool Marvel and DC books. Just really a lot of good reading. We hope you stop by. Wednesday is New Comics Day every week. And come in and take a look. Find something that you'll like. Thank you.